All right, so we found the volume of our gray rectangular prism, and now we're trying to find the volume of our blue rectangular prism. So remember, volume is nice. It doesn't bite. Just do length times width times height. So over here on the side, I want to write that again. Volume is length times width times height. Remember, that's a cursive L, not the number 1. Length times width times height. So let's go ahead and just plug in our numbers for our blue rectangular prism. So you can cover up the gray if you want for a little bit, but we need to find the length. How long is our shape from left to right? Just the blue part. Left to right. Well, it's right here left to right, and it's also right here left to right. So we know it's 3 is our first number. How far back does our shape go? From front to back. So I don't see any lines right now that are telling me how far back it goes. But I do see a height line. So right now we can go ahead and plug in the height. How tall is this shape from bottom to top? It is 9 inches. Did we cut off any of the height when we made that change? No. We cut off the length of how long it was. We did not cut off how tall it was. So we get to keep this 9 as the height. So I'm missing this middle number, which is the width. This is where, I'm going to just put like an empty rectangle here. This is where your detective skills come in handy. You need to figure out how far back the shape goes, or from front to back. How many inches is that? So right here I can see this line goes from the front of the shape to the back of the shape. That's the only line on this whole blue prism that shows the width, but I don't have a measurement here. So I need to find out, what is the measurement from front to back? Do you see any lines in this whole composite solid that would show me how far back the shape is going, or how far wide the shape is? So this is length. The 12 doesn't help me with how far back. This 5 goes from front to back. So that's the 1. The 5 is what shows us how far the shape goes front to back. So from front to back, just like this one, front to back, it is 5 inches. So I'm just going to write a 5 right here in the gray that you can see, but it's for this line going front to back. So I have the width of the blue shape. How wide is it? It is 5 inches wide. So my 3 measurements for the blue prism are 3 times 5 times 9. You can do this lots of different ways. You can do 15 times 9 or 45 times 3. I will probably do 15 times 9. So I don't know that in my head. Some of you might be able to do 15 times 10 and then minus 15, but I'll just show you 15 times 9 is 135. So I know the volume for the blue one is 135. Again, the volume for gray was 180. The volume for blue is 135. So remember, on our step 3, find the volumes of both prisms. Check. We did that. And add them together. So I have 180 and 135. As you can see, I don't have a lot of space right here. So I'm going to come up here where I've got extra space. And I'm going to add those 2 volumes together. I have 180 in the gray, and I have 135 in the blue. So when I add those together, I get a total of 315. So what I want you to do is, now that we have the final answer, maybe take your blue and like circle that, make it really clear that that's the final answer. Because what we're going to do now is go through and on their number 1, we're going to fill it in the way they've asked us to, just to break it down a little bit differently. So for volume 1, we actually did the gray one first. That is my bad. I'm sorry. They asked us to find the volume of the blue rectangular prism first. Next time we'll do that correct. But let's go ahead and do what they've asked. So go to the blue that we figured out. They want to know what was the length, the width, and the height. So remember, for blue, we plugged them in right here, so this should be pretty easy. It was 3, and technically we should put inches. So let's go ahead and write IN for inches. The width was 5 inches, and the height was 9 inches. So you have 3 times 5 times 9, which we already figured out, equaled 135, and they already put the final label on it, 135 cubic inches. Let's go ahead and do the volume 2 for the gray. Remember, the numbers we used were 12, 5, and 3. So we have 12 inches by 5 inches by 3 inches. And that gave us a total of 180. So now they want you just to break it up and go, all right, what was 135 plus 180? And we got the final answer of 315. You know what's going to be hard about this is no one's here checking my math, so I really need to make sure I'm adding correctly. You guys always do a good job at checking my math. I'm pretty sure the answer is 315 cubic inches. So take a deep breath after that. I'm going to pause the video and we'll pick back up again with number 2. Okay, we're back and we're taking a look at number 2. All they're doing on this shape is showing you that you can cut chunks of the composite solid in different ways. So here's my magical math knife pencil, and you remember they cut it going this way. It's kind of like they took a slice of it off the left. If you look at number 2, it's the same measurements because it's the exact same shape really. If this were to all be one color, it would look like the same shape. But they've sliced it instead of going up and down. They've taken it and kind of turned it like this, and they're slicing the top off. So, you know, if I have a glue stick, they're taking the knife and they're cutting it this direction and slicing a piece of it off the top is what they've done here. So it's just a different way to look at how to find the volume of this one, which we can totally do this. So let's follow the directions. Number 2, find the volume of the blue rectangular prism first. So I'm going to go a little faster. So for blue, I'm going to completely ignore the gray right now, and we're looking at it as just a rectangular prism. So the length is 15. There is nothing cut off of the length on this blue shape. So my first dimension is 15 inches. That is the length. So over here, I would write 15 inches. Okay. The next one, remember I go length, width, height. So the width, how wide is the shape? Again, I'm covering up the gray to help myself. How wide is the shape? Remember, wide goes front to back. So there it is right there, 5 inches. And how length, width, height. How tall is the shape from top to bottom? So remember, it's not this height. That was the height of the whole thing. I'm looking for just the height of this little blue rectangular prism, and it's right there. It's 3 inches. So I have 15 times 5 times 3. In this situation, I would probably you could do 15 times 15, or you could do 75. Actually, I'm pretty sure 15 times 5 is 75. No, I think it's 60. I don't know. You could do 15 times 5 times 3. You can do 15 times 15. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do 45 times 5. That's just how I'm going to do it, because I'm pretty sure 15 times 5 is 75. That's okay. We're going to do 15 and 3. It's 45, and times it by 5. Hopefully you're remembering what property that is, where you can change the order. It's commutative. 45 times 5 is 25 plus 20 plus 2, 225. So in my head, I started to freak out a little bit because none of that number 225 isn't anywhere here. But as long as we end up with the same cubic inches, it's just fine. So let's go ahead and move on to our gray rectangular prism. So for blue, I didn't have to do any missing measurements. I didn't have to find any because they were all there. It was still 15 inches long, it was still 5 inches wide, and it was still 3 inches tall. So on the gray one, my guess is we're going to have to do a lot of finding missing measurements. So let's go ahead and remember that we're looking for length times width times height. So we just come over here and underneath it write a capital L, a capital W, and a capital H. Just so you remember, that is what we're looking for. So how long is the gray shape from left to right? So again, you can cover up all of the blue. How long is it going across the bottom here? Do you see any measurements that tell you how long that little piece is? I see another measurement that's listed that is working left to right. Is 9 working left to right? No. 9 was the whole height. So we're looking for just a little left to right. Where's a line that looks like that? Right here, from left to right. So 3 inches is the length. So I come over here, 3 inches. How wide is the shape? How far back is the shape going? So if you look carefully at that, I want you to think about a line that's going from front to back. Here it is again, front to back. I'm going to make that really bold. Where's there another line that shows front to back? Right here, front to back. And it's not like there was a gap or extra space back here, so it is the same width as the blue shape. So the width is 5 inches as well. And then the height, this is where it's tricky. You probably want to just hurry and say 9, but that's not correct. 9 was from here, where I put this dot, all the way to that dot. And remember, we cut that part off. They took the knife and went and cut that part off. So it is not 9 inches tall anymore. It's 9 minus whatever that was that they cut off. So you're now on the hunt to find what is that piece that they cut off. So look around the shape for a little bit and see if you can find what amount of inches they cut off from the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this up, and I'm going to unveil the answer as soon as I write it without you seeing. I don't know if you could see that or not, but the amount that they cut off is the height of the blue one. So they cut off this height from here. They cut that whole thing off right there. So they cut off 3 inches. So it's not 9, it's 9 minus the 3. So the answer, I put 3, the answer on height is 6 inches. So again, I'll walk you through that one. It's not just 9, and it's not the 3. It would be this whole line. Let me see if I can erase that a little bit better and show you. It would be this whole line, right? That's 9. But I don't have this amount anymore. So it's 9 minus 3, which means that it's not 9, but it's 6 right there. So that's how we got the 6 inches over here. So now I just do length times width times height. I can do 15 times 6, or I can do 30 times 3. That seems a little bit easier to me. So 30, because 6 times 5 is 30, and 30 times 3, I can do that in my head. 30 times 3 is 90. Again, none of these totals are equaling the same, but when we get to the end here, you'll see that it's just fine. So the total volume for volume 1 of the blue prism was 225, and the total volume for the gray was 90. And when you add 225 to 90, you get 315. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Those are the same answers. So we broke the prism, the composite solid, we broke the composite solid up in different ways. On this one we chopped down and just scooted a piece away. This one we turned our knife like this and shimmied off the top. And then we got these two numbers, 225 and 90 here, which equaled 315. And those two, 135 and 180, also equaled 315. So it doesn't matter. The whole point of that was to show you that it doesn't matter which way you slice the shape. You just have to be able to separate it into 2 or more prisms to do your calculations. Keep watching for the next video.